Let's
All
see.
right. So, okay, what do these teams need to do going in? Obviously, NoS Brigade was dominant. Like, early game, it was very much at a standstill. Like, top lane was actually, despite early game gank pressure, was trading very well against Lissandra, was pushing her out. Um, but he didn't have too much of an effect later in the game because the rest of TCG's team was just too weak to handle how big some of NoS Brigade's team was, and Lissandra's lockdown was just much more effective than Renekton. Renekton just couldn't peel. There wasn't much. TCG couldn't get the game going long enough to get things like Crucible or, I believe Zed did get a Quicksilver Sash, but that put him down in damage, and he was behind already. I think maybe the Zed pick was just too confident, because they had an answer for it. Like, Malzahar may have been risky, but You're So Good Not proved that he dominated. Like, he just had a dominating performance. His roaming was amazing. He was targeting the right people in team fights. His Zonias were on point. His damage was just absurd. Like, he could kill anyone on TCG, including Renekton eventually. Like, it was very powerful. So maybe that needs to go away. Like, but maybe that just potentially needs to be a banned. But maybe it was just a counter pick. Maybe TCG just needs to go back to the board and just say, we need a different strategy, because that didn't work.
Yeah. I think that I just really like the map control coming out of NoS Brigade's side, and TCG really didn't have enough time to let that Zed split push up just kind of really build up. But on the other hand, I really think that Malzahar could even take Zed if he was even slightly ahead of him with the Zhonya's, because Malzahar is just really strong, especially against lockdown champions. Those counter assassins like Zed, and so I really like the team comp coming out of NoS Brigade, even though TCG was on champions that they are comfortable with. And even Hazel's great on Zed. Calvini is by far, like Nami is his favorite support. So I was a little bit surprised that
I just feel like
TCG
the
didn't pull it.
Sivir Sona ended up synergizing better than the Lucian Nami. And I think people are having a difficult time adjusting to supports, and I honestly think right now, as strong as Nami is, I don't know if Lucian's the right thing to put with her. It's just not as good as something like Caitlyn, where if you're really wanting to poke and pressure and just disengage and not fight at all, Caitlyn makes sense, because that's kind of what Nami does. Nami can't really burst kill. It's more about, like, she has a lot of CC that she can set up to allow sustained damage to come out substantially, which is why Caitlyn works so well, or why even Sivir works so well. But Sona Q and ult and power chord and Sivir Q and Ricochet auto reset was just like melting them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I'd like to see the Caitlyn come back out. I think Nocti is more comfortable on it. Or if they're gonna run Lucian, I would like to see Calvini play something not Nami. I'd like to see Annie, or possibly take that Sona away, or something just with a lot more damage. Maybe even his Karma. Something to burst heavier and
yeah.
protect Lucian, because Nami just wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, I think Nami's a little too passive. I feel like you need to have a real front line, since Lucian's a little bit more of a closer range AD carry. I feel like you need to have someone even like closer to him,
It's very
or
difficult to
closer to
play
the
with
enemy.
passive supports right now with Annie, Fiddle, Tarek,
Hmm.
Sona being the norm.
Yeah, and so now we're going to see, especially, I want to see if the bans are going to be kind of the same general idea, banning off things that people are really scared of, or people on the other team are scared of seeing. But I just want to see whether it's going to be that or reactionary bans from last game.
Annie ban coming out, so I think they're looking to first pick Sona.
Hmm.
That's probably going to happen, and they don't want to give Annie to Zanman.
Yeah.
Lee
Now
Sin
they'll
also being
NoS
banned,
Brigade
though.
ban Lee Sin.
Maybe Lee Sin almost. That's seeing that Annie ban. You think Nas would have thought a little bit more about why that Annie's being banned? Because Nocti or Calvini doesn't really play it. It's not in his match history very much. Maybe only a little bit. So it's really banning out Zanman and like what that potentially means. Riven's still being out. People just don't want Coco Noirin to have Riven. But honestly, like, maybe this would have been the game to see, because his Lysandra is really powerful. He's been using it almost every match we've seen him in, and it's been very effective. No one has really been able to beat him in lane, minus Saga and Protect had a very good performance on top Lee Sin, who he in a very good play managed to take first blood, but even then it still came back, and it's been so dominating.
Looks like we have almost the exact same champions that banned. I think the only one that's different is Lee Sin. Purple team really not wanting iRise to take that, but now we're going to see what the first picks are going to be, and it's going to be Sivir.
I think that's a good first pick. It is leaving Sona up, but I think Sivir was something they passed up last game, because I just don't think Zed Nami was the correct first two picks when so much was up that was more powerful. Zed maybe, like, if they really wanted it, but Nami over Sivir was not great. So I'm glad that's coming out. Vayne, though, Vayne's scary.
Yeah, Drag Force looking at the Vayne at least, and this would be kind of nice since they did ban the Lee Sin, so they don't have that visibility counter. That Lee Sin is a pretty strong pick against Vayne, so they don't have to worry about that. So they might end up going with this Vayne.
Oh,
but Nocti's but they also might take the Caitlyn.
I like Caitlyn here. Caitlyn does answer to Sivir well. They kind of just both cancel each other out. Caitlyn still has a longer range, but they both push so effectively that...
And they're going to be picking up Vi, which I'm very surprised about, because Vi is actually countered pretty hard by Sivir, because you can use your shield mid-Vi ult and as Sivir, and you won't get knocked up or
potentially just an answer to
Calvini and Karma.
Zed. Maybe they just say, no, don't pick Zed because we have Vi. But Shyvana coming out, like I said last game, I was surprised that iRise did not play Shyvana. It's his style, and Shyvana is so much more powerful than Nocturne is currently. And if he's gonna sit there and farm, you might as well just be a beast with it.
And Zanman might again pick up Sona. It's what he's been practicing a lot. It's what he did well with last time.
It worked very well. I would almost say I would stick with Sona. I don't think Leona. And there's Lysandra. I think that's gonna be Lysandra Sona. I think those are the right picks. They're comfort champions. They've been very effective for them, and there really hasn't been an answer to Coco Noiren's Lysandra top. They're just he's been able to dominate with it. Even with the difficult lane phase, he comes in mid game, and his lockup is just very, very powerful.
Yeah, it is going to be the Lysandra most likely top locked in. Now I think that NoS Brigade also has the option, since they're on purple side. They're going to see both of TCG's solo laners here, so now they're going to be able to pick whether they want to put Lysandra mid or top, or who they want to pick in conjunction with that pick. And so they really have control over the solo lanes at this point.
Catch potential on NoS Brigade, once again, is huge. Just Vi and Lysandra ult. Kassadin, though. Alright. Kassadin finally going, not being banned against TCG, and Hazel has decided to pick it up.
I could see them running Malzahar again here. I think that Malzahar would be a pretty good pick against Kassadin.
I don't know if Renekton was... Well, Renekton's not a bad pick here. It's not a bad pick, but it's not innovative, and I don't know if that's something they need at this point. He did do well against Lysandra top. Maybe they just want the same top performance, but again, that top performance was Lysandra actually coming out, just being more effective with roaming. But maybe if... Oh, Swain, though. What do you think about
Swain
that?
Would be pretty interesting. He won't get bursted down by Kassadin as easy as a lot of other mid laners would be. But also, I do like the Malzahar from last game, and Malzahar can burst down assassins like Kassadin, but it looks like they're going to be going with the Swain.
So they're just looking to not get Swain bursted down. It's a decent answer to Kassadin. Swain could possibly be shut down early with some ganks mid or some misplays, or some absolute outplays from Hazel. I just don't imagine iRise ganking heavily with Shyvana. She doesn't have great ganks pre-6, and it's not his style. He's really going to probably just look to farm.
And then Hazel's going to be stuck in mid lane against Swain, which is a pretty big bully to melee champions. And so think that Hazel is going to be pretty. Is going to be hurting for like the first 10 minutes of the game, 15 minutes of the game until he can get 6 and a little bit of either AP or mana. But with
He's gonna have to look at a level 6 because I think Vi's gonna look to mid lane for ganks because if he's up far enough where his Rift Walk isn't gonna take him back to his tower, Vi's just gonna ult and that's gonna be enough time for Swain to follow up and get a W on him, and he's gonna eat all of Swain burst or damage. It's not really burst.
Yeah,
but
and I'd also probably say that Swain is one of the best ranged mid champions to play against a melee champion. When you put the Q onto them, the Decrepify, it'll slow them, which makes it pretty easy to hit and never move. And then add a Torment on top of that, and you can get a lot of poke pretty easily. Because I mean, yeah, his W is a skill shot, but when they're already slowed, it's pretty easy to land a snare.
yeah, so I think the biggest lane to watch now, because we kind of know how the other lanes are going to pan out. I imagine top going the same as it was last game, unless more jungle pressure comes in from TCG, which I don't necessarily see happening. But I think Devilish has shown he can kind of handle himself. He did handle those ganks pretty well, minus when he got 3v1'd. There wasn't too much he could do there. That was just ward coverage. But I think bot lane is going to be what we have to look at. And it's going to be, can Nocti and Calvini really make an impact this game? Because last game it was just dead even for, 10, 15 minutes almost, until Sona Sivir just got items and had faster cooldowns and more burst.
Yeah.
And we see that Sona again, and they've got a lot of poke, so... But Karma's got, they have very good poke of their own. Karma, not a lot of people play her, but she is becoming a little more popular. And her poke is very, very good. Her Q hits very hard, and with her mantra stacks just constantly charging and essentially having an ult at level 1, her Q can hit very hard, even just 1 through 5. So, NoS Brigade is going to have to kind of look out for that and know that if they're really looking to trade and poke heavily, that they could be answered with some heavy burst poke coming from Sivir's Q and Karma's Q.
Yeah. Basically, there's just going to be a lot of damage from both teams, and not really any dedicated takes for either team. Biggest tank we have is Devilish, but Vi possibly going full tank, but not really any. There's no Maokai, there's no Shen, there's no really big wall. It's going to separate the two teams, so it's going to be a lot of catching out of people with Caston and Lysandra.
Yeah, this will be very dependent on Vi's gank pressure and Vi and Lysandra getting those catches. TCG will need very good ward coverage, and I think the early game was really going to make a big difference if TCG cannot let Vi get her early ganks off with her high damage early game, and if Shyvana can just heavily counter jungle Vi while she's trying to gank. If TCG manages to ward off those ganks and just simply get, Shyvana heavily farmed, come the first drag fight, they're going to have a much more powerful jungler than the other team.
Truth. So, game's loading up now. See where those things go. Do have a switch sides for this. Both times, or last game, both teams were pretty passive, so we'll see if that's any different. And no real invade potential, though, for either team here. CC with Lysandra and Swain early game against Renekton and Cast and CC, but it's not really anything notable
I'd
enough.
like to see a grouping from TCG. If they can group in the right bush, predict NoS's movements, they do have a silence and a stun, and I mean Sivir Q, Kassadin Q, Karma Q, Renekton W will kill someone level 1, even if it doesn't seem like a substantial amount of CC. If they're posted up in the correct place and someone walks in there without ward coverage, they're gonna die.
Truth.
Whereas NoS doesn't really have that quick of a damage output.
Alright, we're gonna see which team can buy faster here. Looks like it's going pretty handedly to TCG, so they are gonna have that time advantage. Coco being the last to buy. That's the guy that you don't want to be in solo queue. So looks like from the pings that NoS Brigade is just going to be posting up around their wall of their half side of the jungle, while TCG is going to be grouping up and running. Looks like they are going to be seen by the Vi here. So it's not really any way that you can get into the bush that the Vi is in without being seen from far away. Had a ward dropped by TCG towards their red jungle. Probably going to see that. Just can't wait. You have all 5 members in TCG. Got a little group hug going in the bush by Baron. So let me see if anything comes to that.
They've got their clump going, but
yeah,
I don't think NoS is going to walk out there.
Yeah.
Oh, they're looking to go.
Here we go. Oh, that's going to be
a
awkward.
little too close.
I should... Okay. So I'm waiting for the flash stun from Renekton. He needs to do it before she gets over the wall. Okay,
Whoa.
that was a not very good play at all by Devilish. He could have just double W'd her at basically any time, or flash W'd her. There's really no way that the Vi should have been able to live by charging her Q in front of all 5 members, but it is what it is.
That's unfortunate. Maybe he just didn't think to want to waste flash that quick, but 1 flash for first blood would have been worth it. Unfortunately, now he's down the flash with no result, and Vi's going to get back to her buff just a little bit late, which I think she'll be able to deal with.
Yeah. Shyvana starting her buff by herself. Another tear shed for a jungle without any gank, or without any leash. Calvini taking a lot of damage at the beginning of the game. NoS Brigade was sitting in the bush and waiting for them to get there. Looks like they're going to be trading more auto attacks on the Nocti. He should just back off, but he's trying to stay aggressive. Sweeper gets used by Zanman during the fights. He's not actually going to be able to kill the ward.
TCG has changed their trinket setup now. They've gone 2 sweepers rather than their 5 wards. I think that's a good thing. I think they really didn't have enough sweepers to have map pressure last game.
We're going to see the Caitlyn push, but they also have Karma and Sivir to push back, so...
Nocti now out of mana, too.
Yeah. I think that we should be seeing more poke here from Jagforce, though. A little bit disappointed. We got Nocturne coming into mid here. Sorry. Nocturne's last game. We got Shyvana run down to bot. It's not going to be seen by any wards unless he runs towards that tri-bush. Alright, what Hi-Rise is doing right now is he's staying against this side of the wall, which is smart, because you want to do that so you aren't seen by a ward in tri-bush. It's going to be a lot of damage onto Zanman, but he's probably going to be able to get out of here. Red buff didn't get applied early by Hi-Rise, so there's going to be a lot of damage taken by Zanman and Drag Force. It's going to help push the lane back, but there's not going to be any kills coming out of it. Hi-Rise almost dropping. Oh, almost gets hit by the Caitlyn Q, but does not go down.
That's unfortunate. That seemed like it was going to be a good gank, but Hi-Rise kind of charged in a little too fast, kind of chose his positioning that Sona had a lot of room to flash after Shyvana had blown her W. So I think if he had chosen a more kind of just going straight route where she would have had to run into him versus him just approaching her, it would have allowed the bot lane to catch up and Sona a less distance from him.
Yeah, that's true. And so they're going to have Calvini is going to back while Nocti holds the tower 1v2. Shouldn't be too hard for a Sivir, especially since he has enough mana to get 1 or 2 more Qs off. Wonder if they're going to actually go for a kill here, since they have a pretty large wave.
Interestingly enough, Vi is actually the one heavy farming right now, without ganking much, and Shyvana ganked, but Shyvana does farm so much faster that...
Iris taking a lot of damage, gets snared by Swain and ignited. That's really aggressive. That's way too aggressive. He, worst thing a jungler can do is feed his laner's lane. It's
Jabronium knows this, or excuse me, Steven Jackson.
Yeah, I don't know. Ex Machina's jungler isn't that good, so he does it a lot. But that's going to be a really bad double buff on the You're So Good Nut. It's going to really make Hazel struggle even more than he already has. He's down 13 CS already.
We see this time in top lane that Lissandra is actually getting the better end of the trading and poking than Renekton, and there hasn't even been gank pressure, so we missed it, but perhaps there might have been a poor trade, or Lissandra's just learned kind of how to play the lane last game and knows what she wants to do this time.
Yeah. Irise coming into top lane. Not doing a whole lot. Devilish is just going to back on his little...
Now, Nocti, I don't know if he recently used Spell Shield, but he really should be just kind of utilizing it a little more commonly to just pick up those Caitlyn traps. He did use it very well there to block the Piltover Peacemaker, but he's holding it onto it a lot, and he could really be getting a lot of mana back just from picking up Caitlyn traps if he's careful enough to like not take, you know, the Caitlyn or Sona poke after and wait for the cooldown.
Sandman went going hard there for that ward. That's twice this game that he's failed on sweeping. It's kind of depressing to take the
and the ward was about to die.
Actually not actually use it. Yeah, a little bit of a waste, but we'll look past. At least he didn't die. It would have been pretty embarrassing.
It could just be that like the very heavy, you know, quick. Like if he tries to clear it, like he's getting a Karma Q and a Sivir Q, and that's a lot of damage on a Sona. Sona's very squishy early, so you might just be trying to back out and saying, you know what, okay, forget it.
You got two more members of TCG coming down here. River luckily just got warded. It's going to waste both of their times. Hazel's going to go back into mid. Does not have blue buff, but he should be getting it.
Now hitting 6. Vi is now 6. She's just farmed to it, ignoring the lanes, and that ended up working out for her, as unfortunately mid lane, her mid lane got, well, fortunate for her mid lane got double buff, and Shyvana's ganks just haven't been nearly as effective.
Yeah.
Which is kind of to be expected.
I think that Vi should probably be going straight down to that bot lane now. I think that between the Sona and the Vi, they have a lot of kill potential at level 6. But he could also be going back into mid and go for that Cassidon. But it's pretty risky since it is Cassidon. So he has his ult and his flash to get away. But it looks like she's just going to go get blue buff or gank bot lane through the lane.
Renekton's gone back. He's got his... he's going for Hexdrinker once again. At least he's got his mana or mantle and the longsword. So he's now got enough magic resist to kind of not mind the poke from Lissandra. She's got the arm guard, so she has enough armor. So now they're just kind of, you know, CSing, doing very small damage trades.
Yeah. Laners do
Caitlyn, however, has not backed yet. He really should back very soon because TCG's bot lane is about to be back with a BF sword on Sivir, and Vi would like to gank, so Caitlyn is trying to just like stack CS, but she could run into a situation with Shyvana back down here and the Orc and a pink ward in try that BF sword versus Adorn's blade is going to be very bad.
That is quite fearsome. So it looks like she's going to try and back now. Zanman already was able to back, so he can hold the wave while she backs.
He should be able to get some... Oh.
Irise getting caught out. Oh, Wizard actually getting caught out since Hazel comes in and You're So Good Not does not really react to that like he should have.
Very good catch, though. There was very quick reaction from Cassidon to be like, say, hey, Vi's fighting my Shyvana for whatever reason, I can quickly collapse.
Yeah, laners, you should go and help your jungler when they're fighting closer towards your lane. Just a pro tip in general.
Hazed was full health.
Yes, that was a thing. That was happening. Alright, so we got Hazel. Should be clearing this wave. He is maxing that E.
Oh, Sona ult comes out, and the quick flash.
Lord. Yeah, Nocti taking pretty low. Oh, does not get the ult off, even though Nocti would have probably been able to get behind Calvini for a body block.
That was a fairly good trade.
Oh, going on in mid. You're So Good Not in mid. He's just going to try and waddle out of there with his ult popped. Looks like he's going to make it fine with flash. But it's pretty risky to stay since Hazel can burst pretty hard. Doesn't look like he's going to have enough mana, though, to do it.
Casting out of mana.
Yeah.
That trade really working out bot. Sona's flash and ult for Sivir's barrier.
Yeah.
Forced her out of lane, and Zaman didn't have to back, so...
Yeah, and you're so good
health.
now back at full health again. And that's a pause. That's pretty BM. Looks like it's my
Looks like
drag
it's coming
force.
from NoS Brigade. DC.
DC. I didn't see anyone disconnect, so there may be some false play here.
He's
All right, there it is.
Stuttering.
Confirmed. Not false play. But, seeing the situation here. We got a pretty fed Swain here, rather than a pretty fed Mouse. Scary. And, see how these play out.
Alright. So it looks like Cassidy and Swain are going for the same items, both getting Rod of Ages. Rod of Ages is typically a good item for Cassidy, but a lot of people have started going towards getting a tier to get a quick Seraphs eventually, but generally getting the tier and then going for a heavier offensive item. But Rod of Ages isn't that unpopular, though if you were ahead, typically Cassidans who are ahead will completely ignore the item because it's almost wasted stats because you could just get something that was much heavier damage and continue your advantage and how powerful you are. But for Swain, that item will pay dividends heavily because Rod of Ages makes it difficult for you to burst. Swain's already exceptionally tanky, and he does have a big CS advantage on Kassadin, so he is making more money, which really will put that Rod of Ages ahead. Because if he's got the old income to spend it very fast, and it's a very good item for him, it'll really, really, really pay out in the end. So Kassadin, hopefully he can finish it fast. He needs to maybe pick up a kill. It'd help. I'd like to see a little bit more mid-roaming. Kassadin is, past 6, and he's a very, very good roaming champion. It might be a good idea for him to start roaming because he's not able to do much in lane anymore. He can't push nearly as fast as Swain. He can't kill the Swain, and the Swain can very much damage him. So it might be time for him to decide, I might need to leave this tower or have Shyvana hold it, who can clear very fast, much faster than Kassadin, and roam. Or they could look to potentially do a 2-man roam with the jungler and mid coming down a bot to sweep that, and maybe get a double kill and do dragon. Meanwhile, though, NoS should be expecting, dragon's got to come up soon. One or the other, one of the teams is going to do that. So, Coco Niran could potentially be beginning to roam down. Renekton is based, so if he were to push the wave very fast here to deny vision and then go through his own jungle, which he doesn't know whether it's warded or not, but typically he could avoid possible ward coverage with his E. If they were to run down a dragon quickly, Renekton doesn't have to teleport. He knows he just backed, and he knows that most likely Renekton is going to come back top. They could potentially do a 5v4 dragon fight, and this would be a very good time to do so with NoS Brigade having very large power spikes with Lysandra's ult and Vi ult, and the bot lane having their ult. Sona's ult still a little over half its cooldown, but this would be a good time for them to maybe position for dragon and catch TCG out.
All right, Thirst has returned, so looks like we're going to get this game back on schedule.
Good time.
And we have Vi coming back into mid lane. I would think that they would push this. They'd probably be able to get the tower, but you're so good, might be able to get it by himself. But Exhaust going on a drag force. He's going to be focusing on a Calvini rather than Nocti. Nocti going hard on this, popping the ult. Just turning on to Sandman, though, did not thirst very hard for that Caitlyn kill, but he's going to get it anyways because drag force is playing way too cocky.
Thirst was real.
Indeed it was, but Vi's going to come in, and Calvini just bails on his AD carry. It's a sign of a true support. Looks like Devilish might be the hero right now that Nocti needs, and he is playing the support in this situation.
Way too quick of a flash from Karma. I don't know if she just didn't have any cooldowns, but Could have just
But
walked in the
still,
bush.
that's going to be a...
Very good roam, though, from TCG. Very quick
Indeed.
reaction.
Yeah, it was. Pretty easy with the Cassidon since you can travel so quickly, but you're so good. Not really a fan of leaving that mid lane. More about just keeping it there. They do have wards.
I don't know
TCG
if
should
they
be
can't
able to clear that
see
ward in the
that
back
bot,
of the
but
purple.
Looking to pull it out, I guess.
Should be able to, but I'm not sure. They're going to be able to create a lot of chaos. All 3 members of TCG stacked up here, though. I feel like they should win this, even as a 2v3. Caitlyn Ult coming in on Devilish. He's barely going to die. You're so good not still chasing on iRise. Looks like he's going to get away as well.
Well, a 1 for Dragon isn't a terrible trade. It's actually pretty good. Unfortunately, I think that I don't. I think they did think they could fight that, like you said, but I don't think they realized Caitlyn was still around. That Caitlyn did a lot of damage, and they couldn't damage Lissandra for a large portion of that engagement, and that just ended up like if they couldn't fight, like Shyvana's ult just went over an invincible Lissandra, which they really should have just used their escape moves to quickly get out.
Yeah. I'm a fan. Getting out. Looks like TCG is going to be pushing mid here. Not going to really be getting a whole lot of pressure, though, since Wasted Wizard is going to be able to hold it. And, oh, looks like Hazel just doesn't give a fuck. Oh, and Lissandra might be re-engaging here. Not really doing it, just posturing, trying to get a
I went a little bit
and
too
Wasted
aggressive
Wizard
once
gets
again.
dunked on. And Coco should be going down, too. They tried to get them too far off the tower, and they're going to pay for it. That should be that mid tower down, if not another, because we have 2 members of NoS Brigade still pushing bot lane, and You're So Good Not left mid for 1 minute, but the time he actually leaves mid is when he probably shouldn't have. So
poor communication to from both Vi and Lissandra to go in individually. I mean, it might have just been a good idea to leave that tower, just let them have it, but even so, there was no reason to go in. If they were going to go in, there was no reason to go in individually.
Yeah, true.
And that's 2 towers. That's going to open up map pressure for TCG substantially.
True. Looks like, oh, Hazel. Looks like he's going to YOLO for Caitlyn right here.
And there's no
We also have
river
a Converge coming down from iRise, Nocti, and Calvini. There's a Shyvana ult, knocking her away. It's fine, it's hard to aim. Walks right over the Caitlyn trap. Cupcakes are too tasty, I guess. Nocti does not have any mana, though, so he's probably not going to be able to kill his Caitlyn. They're going to have to back off. And that's TCG backing off. Feel like they could have gotten that Caitlyn kill if they played slightly better, but it is what it is. Devilish going pretty hard from Lissandra here.
Bot inner turret during that whole exchange when they were pushing mid.
Yeah, Caitlyn and Sona were just split pushing that, but yet again...
3 tower mid.
Yeah, but this time Sona bailed on her AD carry instead of Karma, but luckily Caitlyn was able to get out alive. There's a lot of
that might have
going
been a
on
result
top,
of an overcommitment from a team trying to group together.
Pi getting caught out here by Iris and Devilish. Is able to Q out of there. It's a pretty good escape.
They're just going to walk away.
Yeah.
So as I was saying, TCG was looking to collapse on that Caitlyn, and the 3 that were mid came down to be 4v1, and it almost worked. It almost resulted in a kill, but Karma had almost no participation in even obtaining that. Perhaps if they were trying to rush, she should have been spamming shield on Shyvana a little faster. Maybe they were just trying to... maybe they just thought the Caitlyn was like absolutely dead, but top lane.
Oh, top lane. Action is going on. Looks like it's going to be Swain, and they're going to converge onto Devilish.
Renekton getting kind of a little overextended with low ward coverage. But anyway, so that's going to have trouble with a team who really are used to like sticking together and constantly fighting together. Having everyone come down for that Caitlyn 4v1. Not only did they not get the kill, they probably didn't need 4 people to even get that kill, and they left mid wide open for Vi to take for free, which even just Karma could have held by herself. So it's always good to think about potentially, what happens if you take your entire team to one spot on the map, and that was shown in both Ex Machina for that problem with leaving Jinx to take towers against 1v1 baseball, and looks like TCG is experiencing a similar problem.
Hazel's thirsting for this kill on Lissandra. He will probably be able to get it. He does have ult, though, so we can ult and then EOA. That's what you get for shopping while you're backing kids. Shouldn't do it. Lose people to it all the time. So now TCG is going to have a chance to push top here. While Hazel backs, we might get a little bit of a 3v3 going in bot lane, but it's not like it's going to happen.
We see, you know, TCG has more kills. TCG got Dragon, but they don't have a gold lead. NoS has 1 tower over them, but really it's the farming coming out from NoS Brigade. Top is just a little bit ahead. Renekton just caught up, but Caitlyn's got a decent, almost a 20 CS lead, and Swain is drastically far ahead of Kassadin, which makes sense. Kassadin cannot farm well in lane, but it did take a while for Hazel to pick up his
up
roam.
top, waiting for Devilish, or waiting for Coco to get in the lane
Meanwhile,
before
bot
he
lane
goes.
engaged.
Meanwhile, bot lane, trying to double cast this right now. Drag Force taking a lot of damage, probably sacrifice. Sona trying to leave her AD carry to die again. Doesn't get away with it. Gets what she deserves. Devilish goes down top. That's one
That's
for
a
one
2-for-1
for each
trade.
side.
Dragon
2 for
is
1
going to
for each
spawn in
side.
20 seconds, and the jungler is top lane. So this should potentially be a free Dragon. Kassadin looking for that Swain.
Yeah, he's thirsting for the Swain. Oh,
Yeah.
still back up.
Kassadin picking up his roam now. As I was talking about earlier, he finally kind of got to that. I guess they've seen Lysandra and Vitop. They're looking to get mid turret with below bot has just spawned again. So potentially Caitlyn and Sona can stop this. They don't really have a huge creep wave, but Shyvana and Sivir do take down towers fast.
Yeah, I think that they should be able to post up enough to get this, but are not going to be able to get the inhib.
Oh,
Maybe-
Hazel.
Oh, Hazel fight going in. And Wasted Wizard, Sivir gets popped, but she's hauling ass back to base. And
Good
we
disengage,
might get
but
a
Vile-
Q ult
nope.
in, but nope.
Very good disengage, and it was very good bursting down that Caitlyn so that she couldn't pursue. That probably made NoS a little bit hesitant to really engage in a 4v3.
True. So we got Coco going back up to lane. He's running even farther since he's still has nightmares from Hazel killing him while he was shopping while backing. But Hazel's not even going for it. So we got 2 people in NoS Brigade backing and 2
So I
people.
see the next fight coming up at Dragon. It spawned during that little engagement. Although TCG is backing the jungler, it doesn't look like NoS want to try and sneak it. TCG has very good ward coverage, and they're just not all together. Kassadin could also just erase someone if they are out of position. But
It's like NoS Brigade starting up this
NoS
dragon.
kind of does need to start making some kind of big push to win a fight here, as they've been able to keep the gold close with good CSing and good tower pressure, but they aren't winning fights consistently. They're just kind of getting catches occasionally. So this
looks
should be a
like
good stand for them.
Vision War does go to TCG. Oh, here we go. Ult's coming out. And
Good Sona ult.
Sanja ult onto Hazel. He gets bursted. Vile hitting 3 people. Wasted Wizard getting really low. Fortunately going to be able to get out of that. Devilish and Rise. Nocti kiting back. Devilish and Nocti. Devilish is probably going to go down here. Nocti looking like she's also going to get down. Yeah, that
That
was
is an
a
ace for
crit
NoS
out of
Brigade.
Caitlyn.
That is exactly
and a
what they
Q.
needed. They need to win a fight. TCG just... I mean, they ran straight in with Sivir ult into Sona ult, and then sat on Lysandra and Swain AoE.
Yep.
That was just...
Yeah.
They just weren't thinking about what they're about to fight. They really...
They just run into a wall of CC, and they couldn't handle it. Hazel
Yeah.
especially got encased in ice by Lysandra. It was just went down.
Yeah, that was just poor thinking ahead. They really just maybe they just wanted to try and keep up this aggressive, lead and kind of scare NoS, but NoS just kind of turned, stood in their face, said, "I'm Gandalf, you're not getting past this," and stopped them straight in their steps, took the Balrog down.
Reed, master of support and of puns.
I
All
don't
right.
know if that's a pun. It's just a geeky joke.
Okay, sorry. I thought puns were just said whenever there was a bad joke said in League. Whatever. Besides that,
I
looks like
live
we're
with
gonna-
Steven Jackson. If I don't know Lord of the Rings, I don't belong in this household.
all right, it is Tyler's house, so.
Yeah.
All right, so looks like we're gonna go back to normal lanes. I'm still surprised that top tower for NoS Brigade still stands, especially with Renekton on the other team. but he's a little bit more of a team player than some other Renekton's, and he likes to roam down to Dragon into mid lane rather than staying in his own throne.
So we have a little bit of time. We could see an engage here, but Karma might just get caught out. Oh, Lissandra though.
Oh yeah, Lissandra having to ult herself.
Karma
Looks like
missing a
she's
critical
done.
Q, though.
Oh, great flash by her. Hazel's gonna take the bitch move out and run away instead of going back in for Lissandra.
I mean,
Not
that would have
what
been
I would have
certain
done.
suicide.
But, yeah, but
Karma unfortunately missing what would have been the kill. That was unfortunately a critical Q to miss. That's just too bad.
Meanwhile, Nocti split pushing bot. Looks like he's going to be going for the tower. Swain 1v1 though would be definitely in Swain's favor, so he's going to have to bail out of that. Going for a little Q. Not going to hit it though. Then we're going to turn on Devi here. Don't really see a whole lot of potential unless Hazel gets a silence before he gets a Q off, but he doesn't. Hazel thirsting hard for the Caitlyn.
Good damage. Good damage.
It's alright.
Nocti though, I don't know why he's trying to 1v1 Swain. He's going down. Both barrier
Swain
flash
is quite a
burn.
man.
That's nothing but good for Swain.
Yeah.
Top tower probably going down here. Lissandra does looks like she's chasing Shyvana, but I think that's about time Renekton finally took down her throne.
Yeah, I called in the command to take down that top tower, and this is what he gives me. Oh, fight for gold's right here. It looks like Coco's going to take it. We got 3 people in NoS Brigade pushing up from mid though. They're going to ult Hazel. Hazel ulting too soon. He should have waited. Flashes in a very awkward way. Calvini though exhausts, and Kessin gets out. Calvini now taking a lot of damage. Flash ult coming out from Sona. Sona ult still being pretty big in these games. Kaelin's going to tear this tower up.
Silver's still just sitting on an island bot. Really needed to regroup with their team.
Yeah. Oh, Devilish coming in, but he comes in too soon, gets turned on because they have the ward coverage in the river. Devilish probably going to be going down here. And Hazel, Nocti not going to be able to finish anything. And Devilish still might go down.
Poor positioning, sitting in the middle of the enemy team that consists of a Swain.
Yeah, Rise does have ult up. Not going to use it, actually. That was a 4-3 for 0.
TCG's got to tighten up here if they want to
get 4 for 0 for NoS Brigade. Yeah.
They seem to let their little quick lead get ahead of them as they're now getting caught out. They're looking for catches and fights that are not good for them, and Nocti's got to get with his team and stop 1v1ing Swain. Just trying to farm on the bot lane. They really need that presence in a team fight, and they need him back with them, not in the middle of their team.
Yeah. We need to... Oh, fight going down here. Sanja taking a lot of damage. Caitlyn ult calling off into Devilish, but it's not going to be enough. You're so good, not. Taking a lot of damage. Did get ignited, so he's not going to be able to heal up as much from his ult. But he's out of mana, so he's not going to really be able to do anything. That's just 1 kill for TCG, but you have a whole lot of people in NoS Brigade that are going to have to back, so they could go for Baron right now.
Which would be a smart move. They just need to turn. Potentially, though.
They're thirsting for the kill. That Shyvana ult's coming down. That's 1. That's a shutdown kill. Leaving Swain for dead. Oh, Hazel dipping out. They should be able to pick up Baron right now.
Catch the... Oh, Shyvana is... They want the inhibitor.
Oh, yeah. There you go. That was a great catch. Shout out to the Worm King, by the way, for his catches in that last game a couple days ago. They were quite phenomenal. So, catches in this game are also being pretty good with Lissandra and Cassidy.
That was a very good follow-up from TCG. NoS just staying too long. Swain's flash being... the unfortunate part of when he flashed over that wall near blue buff is that his exit from there is... He couldn't really go right because that's going to lead him too close to the team towards their golem. So he has to go up, but they were collapsing up too, so he just ends up walking into a wall that he can't flash over because he doesn't have any kind of gap closer mobility move, so he ended up having to walk around anyway, slightly back towards blue buff, and eventually just being close enough to them that they could follow up and catch him. Shyvana's speed being a large part of that as well.
Yeah, and if we look at Twitch chat, we have lots of shots fired coming out by Peanut Gallery of Steven Jackson downhill. They're saying that Coco is being like Kobe Bryant because he's throwing so hard. But
I would say both teams are having their fair shares of throws here. TCG only a while ago being up like 11-5.
Yeah, that's true. So it looks like blue buff might be picked up by Calvini. First he's leaving his AD for dead. Now he's probably going to take his blue buff, but we'll see where it goes to.
Looks like a free
Meanwhile,
dragon for NoS.
NoS Brigade picking up that dragon. Not really meaning as much since it's later in the game. Calvini does
Shyvana
not take blue
Renekton
buff.
pushing mid, but there's no inhibitor there, and they certainly can. TCG kind of needs to group up and look to do something. They kind of just went off to farm a little bit, and
Yeah.
NoS took a free objective, which there was no reason that TCG couldn't at least contest that dragon or get them away from it, because not much was done by most of their team.
Yeah, I think that what TCG wants to be going for right now is group is 5. Go to get a pink ward on Baron, get wards all around NoS Brigade's red jungle, and then Baron dance,
I
and
think
wait
you
for
need to
those
hurry
mid
this game
and
up
hip
too,
minions
because
to push.
Swain's big,
Yeah, I
and
do.
he's going to scale really hard, and Caitlyn's going to scale harder than Sivir due to item choice. Sivir just got Last Whisper, although I feel that's strange because with someone like Sivir, it's almost better to just go Zeal and then get your Last Whisper, because you're so reliant on doing heavy burst damage with your Q. Same with someone like
You're
Varus.
quite a
it's kind
fan
of
of
the
that
sniper
burst
build.
damage read.
I-
Oh, here we go. Hazel diving in onto Coco. Alright, looks like there might be a little more of a throw. He's going to Zhonya's. He still should have ult coming out of that, so he can ult himself right out of
Sandra's
that.
still not dead.
Not going to die in for 5 seconds. Now he goes down finally. Calvini stealing the kill yet again. Hazel trying to back out. Devilish getting pretty low here. Pretty much a chaotic fight right here. Yosuke might get bursted down. He
Whoa.
does. Wasted Wizard. Irise trying to dive in, but looks like Hazel is going to be able to finish him off. That's a triple kill for Nocti, and Hazel being able to clean up the other 2 kills, I believe.
That was like a little bit of a crazy fight due to that catch, and that was excellent. The Zhonya's and an ult from the Sandra keeping her alive for so long, but the team couldn't get to Sivir, and her Q and just auto attack with Ricochet decimated their team.
Yeah.
Leaving, at the end of the fight when 3 went down, the carries were still up for TCG. Good job on Hazel getting out of that fight.
And then re-engaging back in. Also done very well by Mike Treefy.
Coco
That's another
going.
kill popped up by Nocti and Hazel. This might be game right
I think
here.
they should back out.
Okay. Not going to risk it. They could go for Baron right now, though, because they do have vision on the enemy team. And they have 3 people at full health. And Nocti can lifesteal off
I would
Baron.
have liked
So.
Nocti to leave his trinket ward in the base, because if they want to do it for Baron, it's really good to know if they're coming out or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, looks like they're just going to pick up bot
Nocti
lane.
running to golems. I don't know why he hasn't backed. He's choosing a very, very safe approach to backing. Probably could have backed a lot sooner, but
Yeah, it's fine.
they are
It's,
grouping up. They're getting around Baron. Looks like he's building towards a... oh my god, I keep forgetting this item all the time.
They still have a Draven pink ward
Quicksilver.
on that dragon, so... Oh. Hazel breaks the Banshee's Veil onto Vi, but she's gonna back out of there. I think that they should go in for Baron right now. They have Renekton to zone off. They have the entire Baron area completely clear.
I think
Shyvana
NoS
just
needs to
popped
find
her
another
oracles like
fight,
Baron was fine.
like the dragon fight. Like honestly, like that worked very well. They just need to stop getting picked off, and they really need to have a good concentrated fight.
Oh,
It looks like the
TCG
Fnatic rush
right
is
here.
happening
Get
now.
ready. Oh, that was pretty YOLO right there by Shyvana flashing and then
Good
ulting.
zone ult, though.
But Vi ult's coming down to Hazel. He's going to ult back out of that. Put the poke down on the Wasted Wizard. Irise and Devilish, though, taking
Sivir
way
cutting
too much
very
damage.
well.
Pretty separated away from their team. Coco looking like he's going to die again. Just ults himself right
Just
before he
takes
dies.
him
And he goes down. And it looks like Devilish may go down here. Does not. Wasted Wizard really low.
So that brush gank not working quite as effectively as they would have hoped.
Yeah, I think that they could have baited the...
I don't think
they
either
could have
team
baited
honestly
Ness.
realizes how close the gold is.
Devilish cleaving really hard. It's going to go down. And Hazel barely going to get out of there, but they do get Sona for it instead. That's a huge crit by Caitlyn. You're going to be chasing. Calvini is going to be able to flash out of that. Good flash by him.
I think both teams are having a very difficult time realizing how close it is, because at times in this game it really has looked it hasn't looked dramatically even in a while. It really does look like at one point one team has a pretty big advantage and are winning fights substantially. Another time another team is. but it's still 22-20, and the gold is really, really close. NoS hasn't been up in kills in a long time, but they've actually been up in gold for a while. It's just their farming is impressively more substantial, and TCG's got to look for another catch because they're getting outscaled fast, and we saw in that fight that like the AoE is difficult for them to handle and kite from, and Lysandra is pretty difficult for to make that catch on because she's not dying in fights very fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ulting herself at the same time using Zanya's really lets her get away with kind of some of the risky / maybe construed as bad decisions that she makes. But she is doing her fair share in the team fights, but Drag Force is really pulling it really big for his team.
Karma picking up Merlinomicon, maxing her CDR, getting a little more AP. The item's good against Swain's healing, so that's not a bad choice. But she could also have gone a little tankier.
Hazel comes in. There's a Vi ult onto Hazel.
I think
He's not going to go for it. Stone ult is whiffed harder than Reed's. Irise doing a lot of damage to Ursa. Good night. He's going to pop his Zanya's. Hazel's going to pop his Zanya's. Hazel's going to try and get out of there. Gets ulted by Lysandra. Does finally get out of there. Zanya's gets popped by Coco, but he gets ended by Nocti. Nocti's going to bail out of there. We're still really squared by the Swain. Devil is just getting hit in the ass while he's chasing Sona. Does not going to be able to finish her. It was a pretty interesting fight, but it's going to come out in a 3-for-1 for NoS Brigade.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Alright, NoS Brigade now pushing mid as 4. Gonna pop the ult onto Hazel being what a hero. A nice guy. Now Hazel gonna be posting up at mid inhib. Not gonna be able to do anything. Just gonna watch while they do what they want with his base. Giggity. Got the combo coming out from Hazel, but he's gonna back out. Nocti trying to push in, but there's not really a whole lot they can do, even with Kassadin's chase potential.
It just looks like TCG is trying to make these picks, and that was a pick gone bad. Kassadin just was way too far ahead of his team, and even though he took Vi away, that's honestly better for Vi. Even if she's taken away from the team, she wasn't taken into the team, and she took Kassadin's damage away to start that fight, while the rest of her team could come in, separate him, and do a lot of damage to TCG.
Wow, I'm very surprised. NoS Brigade get all their wards cleared on Baron, have 2 people back, and they just don't give 2 shits. They have 2 more people on their team back. A little bit surprised that TCG didn't go for a Baron right there, but they didn't have enough vision to see NoS Brigade leaving. So, next fight's probably going to be based around Baron. I don't really see any other objectives other than TCG going for that mid inhib.
It looks like wards are becoming quite the problem as we're entering like 60k gold areas, and teams do not have a lot of room for wards, which is an unfortunate problem. But it'd be nice to see like a little bit of that gold. I don't think people think about it too often, but upgrading trinkets could really be substantial. Especially for like for Nectin Kassadin and Sivir to spend the 500 to upgrade their trinket to a permanent pink ward. That's extremely effective.
Yeah, that's true. We have the entire team of NoS Brigade all backing. They all have home guarding in. Oh goddamn. Okay, Hazel YOLO'd in pretty hard there. Hit all 5 people with his combo, but he's going to pay for it now. He's going to go down. You're so good, not still pushing in, diving in really hard. He's thirsting, but he's going to pop the Zanya's. Caitlyn is going to get killed by Shyvana. Coco really low. He's actually not going to die this team fight. That's surprising. Irise looking like he's going to take some damage. Calvini spiking on some damage. You're so good night.
It's big.
That's big. Wasted Wizard probably going to be going down. That's 4 still left for TCG. And all the hard hitters from NoS Brigade are still down, except for Lysandra. Great flash by Calvini right out of the Lysandra W. Devil's just not really going to be able to do a whole lot, though.
Nocti really shouldn't be trying to kill anyone in spawn pool. They need to get to the inhibitor and try and win the game.
True. Okay, need to be finishing up this inhib. Looks like this should be game here, but Coco might actually make some plays here and stop Calvini and Irise.
Ignite is still up for Sona. Calvini's going to go down, probably.
Yep, Calvini's going to go down. And
Irise still
might
up
go down.
barely. It's gone down.
Looks like that's Irise down, too.
Good Zonya's.
Still up.
GA might go down.
He's chasing for it. I don't really know why.
Oh, we're not going to hit the Nexus.
Back.
I can
Yep.
hit
He's an
Nocti,
alligator. He doesn't
just
think
dealing with Sona, I guess.
Right. And
That's
now it
game.
looks like,
Oh, here
unless
comes Caitlyn. Oh,
oh,
there it is. There's the GG. All right.
One
That
to
is a
one.
1-1, which means, unfortunately, I wanted to be somewhere, but we need to go into a best 2 out of 3 because this still ties them with the end of the season being done for them. So they need to essentially perform a best of 1 to determine who the higher seed is going to be for playoffs. So I'll speak to the captains really fast, and we will find out if they want to do that right now. I think they might want to, or if we're going to reschedule. I'm going to pick the stream down really fast, let this vid record, and we will be back shortly.